Peter, your first impressions, you've become a master of them, began in the Air Force. You started in the Air Force when you started impersonating other ranks. How did that start?
I don't know. I used to be a bit of a tearaway in those days, and I just used to like taking officers off or various other buds, you know.
Sergeant Major's a tool like that. That's most of the time he had to start there. Like that, see. It's all on the arse to hit the box.
I mean, we had the eldest old fellow named
Yeah, but you did impersonate an officer one day in the mess, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I went in as an air commodore. They were all very
what rank
drunk.
were you at the time?
Corporal. It was in Assam.
You were fellas said you're bloody young to be an officer, aren't you? What? Air Commodore, what are you? What are you?
I remember him chasing me out the mess, running around there with his trousers coming down. I don't think he was intentionally. I mean, I don't mean that. No.
We'll brush over that.
Peter Sellers was one of the greatest comedians, impressionists, and character actors the world has ever seen. With his mobile face, his superb timing, and his much underrated musical ear, he portrayed some of the most memorable characters ever created on radio, TV, and film. These skills took him on a journey from humble British entertainer to Hollywood stardom, where he worked with many of the world's greatest actors and directors, leaving audiences spellbound with his unique ability to create new voices and to improvise sublime comedic moments. With the help of Peter's daughter Sarah and his first wife Anne, we've gained unprecedented access to some of his private archives, letters, photos, and home movies, along with film and television clips that have not been seen since their first airing more than 50 years ago. What follows is not a standard cradle-to-grave biography of Peter Sellers. We've all seen plenty of those before. Instead, we're offering a glimpse of Peter's private world. We're seeking to overturn some of the recycled myths and lazy cliches that have distorted our collective memory of this great actor. Many of our best and funniest finds were audio recordings, and as you've already seen, we've animated some of these. There's no stopping the man, he's doing me again. This is the Undiscovered Peter Sellers. Peter Sellers, actually named Richard Henry Sellers on his birth certificate, was born in Portsmouth in 1925. When Peter was aged 10, the family moved from Portsmouth to Muswell Hill in London, where Peter attended St Aloysius School in Highgate. This was the first of many ironies in his life, being sent to a Roman Catholic school, then discovering almost immediately that he was in fact Jewish. His Jewish identity was to become more and more important to him as his life progressed. His parents, Bill and Peg, were moderately successful variety entertainers who wanted their son to follow in the family business. So Peter left school at the age of 14 when the family moved to Ilfracombe in Devon, where his parents took over management of the local theatre. Peter recalled those years for Danish television, in this clip never before seen in the UK.
It was more or less decided that I would go into show business from a very early age. My mother was determined that I would carry on the business, and so I was apprenticed to one of my uncle's theatres, doing a very menial job of sweeping out. But first of all, I rejected it completely and then became a musician. Do you want me to continue as the inspector or as myself?
As yourself.
All right, I'll take this off.
Lovely.
I'll put it on there. How about that?
That's marvellous.
Peter's biographer, Mark Cousins, takes up the story.
The move to Ilfracombe became quite important for Sellers. Basically, it was during the war, and they decided to move the whole family to Ilfracombe. Part of the reason for the choice of the place was the fact that his mother, Peg's brother, was the manager of the theatre at the Pavilion Theatre in Ilfracombe, and Sellers was co-opted, as were his mother and father, to do work in the theatre. Now, it's there that he took up drumming. What happened was there was a guy called Joe Daniels, who was quite a well-known drummer. Joe Daniels and his Hot Shots were performing there, and one night Sellers sneaked in and decided to have a fiddle about with the drums and got caught. However, Joe Daniels, took a favourable view of this and encouraged him to learn the drums, which he did, and then he had proper formal lessons after that, and his parents bought him a drum kit.
Soon after enlisting, he auditioned for ENSA, the Armed Forces Entertainment Troupe, and spent the next 3 years as an impressionist and jazz drummer entertaining the armed forces in India and Burma.
Meet the gang 'cause the boys are here, the boys to entertain you. The boys to entertain you.
After the war ended, Peter realised that he needed to change careers.
And at that time I was doing impersonations of various radio stars. And I took a chance and phoned up the producer of the radio program and said I was two well-known radio stars of that period. And I said, as them, that they had seen a very remarkable young comedian and he should give him a break on the ship. And he said, yes, I will. What's his name? And I said, Peter Sellers. And then right after that, I said, this is Peter Sellers speaking. And he couldn't get over it. He said, well, you're a cheeky young bugger. He said, but just for that, I'll come up and see me. So I went up there, and then he gave me a break on his program.
I'll just put on this sound effect of a 1950s projector. Once inside the BBC, he soon teamed up with Spike Milligan and Harry Seacombe to create The Goon Show, a radio phenomenon which, as we all know, became the greatest surreal comedy show of the 1950s. What you almost certainly don't know is that on one occasion, Harry Seacombe took his home movie camera along to capture the radio rehearsal on film. And the good news, I got my mitts on the cans of film. But the bad news? There's no sound. But never mind, enjoy these rare fragments, shot mostly by Sellers on his Bolex. Mark Cousins takes up the story.
I think that some of this was shot because by that time they realised, all Sellers, Seacombe and Milligan realised that the show's days were numbered and that they were going to call it quits sooner or later. So I think they decided, probably for sentimental reasons, to make some film of it, albeit silent. And it's a wonderful record to have now of actually what the zaniness of the humour and what went on both when they were performing the show and rehearsing.
Here's Peter hammering at the piano with a bottle of booze in front of him. There's Wallace Greenslade, a highly dignified BBC announcer, with a fag in his left hand. And more booze. But no booze from the audience. Sorry. Who seemed to be enjoying the show almost as much as the goons did rehearsing it. And more booze. And there's the sound effects man clearly doing footsteps in the snow. And here Peter and Spike seem to be rehearsing a scene from what later became the running, jumping and standing still film. The good news, as I said, was that we got this film. The bad news was that it's mute, but the good news is we hired a lip reader with a sharp eye and her own typewriter in a bid to work out which goon show was being rehearsed. The bad news is radio performers' lips are difficult to read on account of being obscured by microphones. The good news is our lip reader is very plucky. And she came up with the following phrases. Oh dear me, better come and tell me. That's what I'm saying. We'll ask him. Harry, it's you. Cough, cough, cough. Tell me about hippopotamus. You watch that. Get changed first. So no clues there, but then we had the bright idea to identify the program by emulating the fingers of the pianist. And breakthrough! It's the famous edition of The Goons where they played Webern. Shut up. Shut up. Sorry. But finally, is that all? Well, no, because for some reason this remarkable clip of Eric Morecambe turns up on the home movies, and he appears to be saying, I'll attempt the voice, you know, there are not many people who can do that. Meanwhile, back to a documentary about Peter Sellers, and despite our lip-reading disaster, there is some good news. After scouring the vaults of ITV with very expensive scourers, we came across this exceedingly rare footage of a goon show that was recorded for ATV in 1966, but never transmitted. And this footage does have sound, so no lip readers required.
Packed from end to end with mediocrity under the title of
Mary Poppins is a donkey.
Pull up a chair. Oh, that's better. Thank you.
Major! Yes? You're charging me, an Englishman, to stay at the British Embassy?
Well, it's a holiday season, dear. They charge twice as much as Blackpool, you know. Oh.
I'm not on holiday. I'm here on a dangerous mission, I tell you.
You mean you might get killed?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's different. Under the circumstances, I must ask for the rent in advance.
I've never been so insulted in all my life.
Come now, sir, with that face you must have been. You don't get around enough, that's your trouble.
Oh. By St. George, you drive me hard till I tell you.
Crushwick Crundles, its billion de paprika, Moriarty, knee trembler, head of the dreaded, highly secret, mysterious whistling Hungarian counter-espionage.
They've also played the lead in several French postcards.
Hold on, stop the programme. Kath, our brilliant producer, has just had a brilliant idea about those silent Harry Seacombe movies. She remembered that our lip reader had spotted the word wonderful during Ray Ellington's singing, and she also remembered that the word wonderful appears in Johnny Mercer's song Too Marvellous for Words. So Kath went through all the Goon Show scripts ever made with a fine-tooth comb. Why she combs her teeth, we'll never know. Goon Gag, 1955, sorry about that. And discovered that the song only ever appeared in one episode, Queen Anne's Reign. Recorded on December the 22nd in 1958. We tracked down the audio of that programme, and now, for the first time in 60 years in living black and white, sound and vision are reunited.
Wonderful, I'll never find the words that say enough. Tell her no, I mean they're just as swell enough.
It sounds like Peter Sellers. Forward him with his hi-fi lawnmower.
Look at the year, 1880. 1880? Oh, and I haven't got the dinner on that. Oh!
Peter and the Goons had been moving in royal circles since the mid-1950s, and we've uncovered this rare newsreel of them visiting Cambridge University. In their early years, the Goons made occasional theatrical appearances together.
The Goons toured together on numerous occasions, but rarely performed on stage together. However, there are some exceptions to this, and they did this wonderful routine called the Three Charlies, or Les Trois Charlies as they sometimes build it, and they were doing a sort of faux bodybuilding muscle man routine. And thankfully somebody captured it on film, and there's this really rare film of them actually performing this. It's completely silent, but it's absolutely lovely.
In 1954, Peter broke into TV as the star of a BBC series with the uninspiring title And So Did Bentley. The series was equally uninspiring, according to its creators, Dennis Norden and Frank Muir. But fortunately for us, Frank took his camera along to rehearsals and captured these fascinating behind-the-scenes moments in colour. There's Dennis Norden, seen here in his Gregory Peck mode, a young Peter Jones, and lots of the 30-year-old star, playing such diverse roles as a pre-Fred Kite lift attendant, a Glenn Miller lookalike, behind a bar, a spiv, an exotic dancer, just joking, even Peter had his limits, and the same spiv but without a moustache playing a romantic lead. The series tanked, but no matter. because Peter's career was about to take off like a rocket. By the late 1950s, Peter was regularly starring in British films and on the West End stage, as well as on radio and television. Money was rolling in, and he spent some of it, quite a lot of it actually, on this astonishing Tudor mansion in Chipperfield, north of London, where he lived with his first wife, Anne, and his young children, Sarah and Michael. Anne and Sarah have never been back here since the early 1960s, when Anne's marriage to Peter broke down, and Peter sold the house. We've invited them back to Chipperfield to recall their life here and to give us their first ever joint interview.
We had cooks and everything, didn't we?
We had everything, yeah.
Cooks, nannies, everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yes, we were very spoiled.
Yeah. Wow, look at the house. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mm. Yeah. Fantastic place.
Mm. But it was.
And Dad was 34 when he bought this.
Was he?
Yes. So I reckon it was pretty good to have, you know, at 34 to have been able to buy a house like this.
The thing is, with the parties he gave, there was always loads of
celebrities.
Cocaine.
Oh, cocaine.
But I mean, you were brought up with seeing it everywhere, bowls of it.
Yeah. Right. It was quite a different childhood.
Yeah. Certainly was.
Mm. Well, it's dark. Wow, this is the formal dining room in here.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Do you?
Yeah.
Lovely old fireplace here.
Mm.
Is this where the dreaded Sophia Loren used to come and have dinner and stuff? Dad used to entertain all sorts of people here, didn't he? I mean, he was, I think, probably the Bolting brothers and...
Yeah.
And what about Spike and Harry and stuff? Did they
Yeah,
come?
they would have come here.
Yeah, yeah. Because it was all the people from the early days, really.
Yeah.
And probably Dave Lodge and Graham Stark and everything.
The actor Graham Stark was one of Peter's close friends, and Peter would often...
Well, you know, how do I remember my father, what his skills as a father? Well, I kind of like to say his skills were better at he was better at other things than being a father. But you've got to put that in context of that his career, he was a crazy person, he was a comedian, he didn't have time for being a parent in the way that other people do that have a 9-to-5 existence. He was filming, so he wasn't always around. There were difficult times, but I'm sure that most people have difficult times. But I loved the fact that we had a lot of freedom, and when Mum and Dad were together, perhaps not quite as much, but after that, you know, he would be doing his own thing and we'd be wherever he lived or wherever he was filming, and we'd just be left to our own devices. So actually it was brilliant, and when I went home to Mum, it was more structured, and I didn't like that as much. Yes, he was difficult, but I don't look back and say, oh, I had a dreadful childhood. You know, he was just different. He was not a conventional parent.
It's weird. I've never understood why I married him. It's difficult to explain. I mean, I used to have good times with him. We used to laugh a lot. I've laughed a lot at things he's done. I mean, there's a whole two sides about it. As a husband, I think he's impossible to live with, was impossible to live with.
As we've already seen, Peter's close circle of friends included royalty. It was even rumoured that he'd once had a small part in Charlie's Aunt. Sorry, but he also mixed with showbiz royalty, including the Beatles.
I met Ringo Starr because Dad did the Magic Christian, and so we met him quite often. He was friends with all of the Beatles.
All right, insert Peter Sellers, P513, take 1.
Older viewers will be familiar with Peter's version of the Beatles' song A Hard Day's Night, in which he parodied Sir Laurence Olivier as Richard III. Peter was usually word perfect, but as these outtakes reveal, he was prone to an occasional tip of the slung.
It's been a hard day's night. I should be sleeping like a log. It's been a hard day's night. And I've been working like a dog. That's why I love to come home, 'cause when I get you alone, you know I feel all right. And there's no point in really going on with that one because I got the words wrong, I know. Bleeding thing. Right. I went wrong on the dogs and logs.
Are you ready? Take 2.
It's been a hard day's night. I should be sleeping like a log. That's why I love to come home, 'cause when I get you alone... No, sod it.
Back to the opening, quick.
Wait a minute, what is it there now? I've gone all cockeyed.
Okay, Stuart. Right, stand by, we're ready.
It's been a hard day's night. I should be sleeping like a dog. Log, fog, wog, bucket. Never mind. No, very funny thing.
Peter often socialised with the Beatles, and in 1969 he even helped them record an innocent introduction for an American TV show.
We need your help. Pull up a star seat. We'd like to do a little introduction to the Ed Sullivan Show. Oh, yeah. We've been lucky enough this evening to secure the talents of Mr. Peter Sellers here, who's going to give us number 3. If we ask him really nicely, he'll probably do number 5. Yes, I might. Over to you, Peter. I can't count that far these days. Never mind. I used to be able to.
But then, thinking they were off mic, a discussion ensued that revealed the Beatles and Peter's keen interest in wacky-backy.
Remember when I gave you that grat in Piccadilly? I do, man. It really stoned me out of my mind. Really, I was just Acapulco Gold, wasn't it? Exactly. That was really fantastic. Well, I'm sorry about that, fellas, but I might have known I was going to see you quick. I would have had some on. Yeah. Because I know you love it. Yeah. Dig. Sure. Right, dig. Got you, Pete. Got it. And, can you dig it? Oh, yes. Got it. I can dig it.
You want to make the scene for the gents' lavatory?
That's a groove. Yeah. Bye-bye. Too much, Pete. Bye. Way out. Way out.
Exit.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
It's that way.
Just don't leave the needles lying around, you know. We've got a bad reputation now with getting busted and that. I know what it's like for showbiz people. They're under a great strain and they need a little relaxation. Yes, and that's why going to bed. It's a choice between that and exercise, you know, and drugs win hand down.
Peter was by now one of Hollywood's most bankable and wealthiest stars, his most popular role being Inspector Clouseau. As time went on, Peter concentrated on making films and made fewer and fewer appearances on television.
How can an idiot be a policeman? Answer me that!
It's very simple. All he has to do is enlist.
He has lightning-fast reflexes.
But in 1975, when he appeared in The Return of the Pink Panther, directed by Blake Edwards...
No situation. Too dangerous. For Peter Sellers.
He made this remarkable appearance on a TV special hosted by...
I love you, darling.
Mrs. Blake Edwards.
Love you, Doctor. Oh, I love you, darling. Beg your pardon? What?
In this rare clip that hasn't been seen since it was broadcast, Peter is reprising his role as the crazed psychiatrist, Dr. Fritz Fassbender.
Have you got trouble? Lie down, darling. I unscramble your brains for you.
But aren't you the famous Dr. Fritz Fassbender?
Fritz Fassbender, of course I am. Heidelberg, class of 39. PhD, LLD, SS.
SS?
What? No, it's a lie.
Partly scripted, but partly improvised, it's fascinating that this sketch touches on many of Peter's own obsessions and insecurities.
I need some money.
What?
I need some money. I'm going to have a tantrum.
Sex.
Paddington doesn't like it when you talk daddy. Tell Paddington you're sorry.
I will do no such thing.
All right, then I kill you.
You are absolutely mad.
Yes, isn't it romantic?
Drugs.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Have a drag on this and try saying that again. Superfragilisticexpialidocious. Really harder far
And even the occult and superstition.
Really?
Wait. Step on a crack, you break your mother's back. That's what you do if you step on a crack.
That's a lot of superstitious nonsense. What are you doing?
Exercising the demons and myself at the same time instead of jogging. Hey, don't go, my darling. Have I cured you if you're feeling better?
Well, yes, thank you so much, Doctor.
Leave a check on the way out. Don't talk to anybody.
I'm very grateful. Ciao.
Sieg Heil! There she goes, that mad, impetuous fool. No one else shall look.
It's estimated that about 2% of the general population suffer from ADHD. But that percentage is much higher among comedians. Of course, seldom a week goes by nowadays without some comedian or other claiming to suffer from a psychological condition like ADHD, a condition that conveniently explains away their frequent bad behavior, while also allowing them to claim genius status, when in fact the only mental condition they actually suffer from is extreme narcissism. But Peter Sellers really was different. I'm no psychiatrist, unless you count the 20 years I spent studying under Carl Jung in a Zurich clinic, but it's clear to me that, like Mel Brooks, Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, and Dana Carvey, Peter exhibited many of the classic symptoms of ADHD. Comedians with that condition like danger, walking a tightrope, improvisation, the rush of adrenaline, the dopamine effect, the thrill of the new. ADHD is a brain disorder that leads to explosive, compulsive behavior. No wonder cocaine is the drug of choice for so many comedians. A lot of people with this condition also happen, like Peter, to be drummers, gadfly, octopoidal, multi-limbed activity, flying by the seat of the pants, on the edge, where boredom is the enemy, multitasking, no emotional control, no off switch, the psychological weather changing every 25 minutes, obsession, over-revving sex drive, gadfly, completely in love, not in love, inability to control impulses. It's exhilarating to watch such people in performance, but sharing your house and your life with such a person is a very different proposition. Yet 4 women were prepared to give it a try. Starting with Anne, seen here in 1981.
He was probably the most fascinating person I'd ever met in my life. I mean, he swept me off my feet. I met him, I think, at a dance the first time, and he sort of, the next day he rang me up and said, I'm madly in love with you, and will you come out with me? And he wouldn't stop pestering me.
Yes. Was he a whirlwind to live with? I mean, did he bring his work and the characters that he created home?
Yes, he did. He always brought it home. And I mean, in fact, as the years went on and he did more bigger roles, he'd come back as the role, which was a bit confusing. I mean, you never were quite sure whether it was going to be Peter that was coming home or the doctor or Fred Kite or somebody, you know.
And he got mad at you to the point of violence, tearing your clothes, smashing the house up.
Yes.
I mean, this is a really disturbed person, isn't it, doing that?
Yes, but he was... I suppose he never grew up. He was like a little child. You know, like a 5-year-old would get into a tantrum. This was Peter.
As a child, I put it down to the fact that he was famous and the fact that nobody would ever say no to him, including his mother. So I had my way of understanding it or not, but I've had more of a need to do that since he's not been around anymore, because there's been so much attention on whether he was mad or not.
Peter wasn't mad, but he was differently sane, with a short attention span that constantly needed stimulation, be it from comedy, music, women, drugs, sex, cars, or gadgets. Peter's fascination with gadgets is well known, and once the big money from Hollywood started to roll in, he could afford to indulge his passion. But this wasn't simply a case of boys' toys, because Peter often found inspiration for comic routines in these latest gadgets, as shown by this groundbreaking extract from an edition of The Simon D Show which was wiped in the 1970s by LWT. However, we've tracked down this home cassette audio recording made by a fan.
Do you find that people, forgive me, people come up to you and so say, Peter Sellers, be funny?
Yes, you often get that at parties. This is often why I wear this thing, you see.
Yeah, this.
This is a rather interesting device. It's very interesting.
Now, what is that, Peter?
This is
What
first.
is that?
First. It's the first BBC stereo broadcast on ITV. Really.
Yes! Tune in and we'll put it on the microphone.
Yes,
Get a station. Get a station.
Their characteristics, their colleagues across
See, you can have anything you like. The great joy of this, Simon, is that...
Is this the only one in the country?
The only one in the country.
Why, you
Another
have a
first.
fascination for gadgets.
Yes, I do. Actually, it's very useful for when you go to boring social do's. You just put it on.
Technology was one of Peter's obsessions, but another obsession in his life that dismays many of his admirers was his lifelong interest in astrology and the supernatural.
Well, he certainly was, as his life went on, and it's been mocked a lot. But as somebody who's quite interested in those sort of things myself, I wouldn't rule my life by it, and Dad did perhaps put too much emphasis on it. But I think his mother, the whole theatrical thing, there's a lot of superstitions anyway, and he grew up in theatre, so, all the superstitions about what colours you could wear. He had a whole list of things that you couldn't or could do. So you've got the basis of it there, and then as somebody's life perhaps becomes a bit out of control, I think he turned more and more to it, like some people might do to religion or looking for answers. He was always looking for answers.
It's often said that the best actors are essentially con men, and con men are, of course, the easiest people to con because they never suspect that anyone else might be as devious as themselves. We all know that throughout his life, Peter naively believed in the supernatural powers of shysters like Maurice Woodruff, and even close friends like Graham Stark were powerless to break the spell. Indeed, as Graham observed in this unreleased recording, there was only one way to get Peter away from his obsession with astral signs and Ouija boards.
Tarot cards, planchette boards, crystal balls, and nothing you could do or say would shake Peter's belief in them. To be fair, he never tried to inflict any of it on me, maybe because I'd made my feelings so obvious. Mind you, I always had a sneaking suspicion that had I burst in one of his seances, flourishing some new exotic video camera, he'd have had the light switched on in a second, anxious to try it out.
Peter's fascination with astrology and the occult grew more and more obsessive as the years went by. But as early as 1965, he was talking frankly to David Frost about it.
A friend of mine said she'd been to see this particular fellow, and he told her what time the play would finish, she was in, when the notice would go up, and that she was going to do a film with two twin brothers. And she didn't know at that time she was going to work with, for example, the Bolting brothers. That's who he was talking about. And the play that she was in, she didn't know when it was going to finish. She was very fed up with the play. But anyway, the day he said it would finish, it finished. And about 2 days later, she got a job with the Bolting brothers in Private's Progress. And she said, "You must go and see this fellow." So I said, "Well, I'll go along." And I went up to see him, and then,
But it does make it more dramatic to say twins. If you work for brothers, you're going to work for the Bolting brothers, aren't you?
Well, not necessarily, huh?
Well, if you're any kind of person, you are.
Oh, eh?
What do you mean?
Yes, look here, what do you mean by that remark?
What do you mean by that remark?
But do you think that they'd ever tell, say they could see something in your future, clairvoyance, that was a bit dodgy and not very nice, do you think they'd honestly tell you? That's
Well, I don't know about that, you see, because I'd always said to this chap, to to tell me if there was anything dodgy coming up, because I wanted to know. I didn't want to sort of suddenly get hit by it. But anyway, he never told me I was going to get very ill. And maybe he didn't want to tell me about it, I don't know. But,
and you were very ill, weren't you?
Yes, and then I haven't seen him since, actually.
and you've, in a sense, have you lost faith in this sort of thing?
No, I guess that he probably didn't want to tell me, you know. I think it must have been that, because I think if you're going to have toothache or something like this, he would say, or maybe you're going to have your leg amputated. But if you were going to actually die, I think he would probably say, you know...
Fact, your whole life, I mean, that's what a numerologist is.
Peter's physical and mental health became increasingly poor during the 1970s. His personal relationships floundered and his professional work became more uneven. Although he was only in his early 50s, he seems to have known that the end was near.
The end of his life was messy. He became more and more ill. And I suppose all the things that come into play, he knew that he wasn't going to live for very long. So it was a difficult time, and, you know, I've spoken to some people who he spoke to with a lot of honesty about his fears about dying, you know, and he was pretty young. I dare say that his mental state would have deteriorated with his declining health.
A lot of people think I'm a right twit because I'm very quiet, but I can't take it, you know. I work so hard when I work that I like to be very quiet and just think and meditate and wander around taking photographs, you know. But I don't have any friends here. Real friends. I don't have any people I really call. I've only got 2 really good friends, or no, 3 at the most in my life.
It's 8 o'clock on Thursday, the 24th of July. Peter Sellers died in the early hours of this morning. A hospital spokesman said his heart had just faded away. Our newsreader is Christopher Slade.
Peter Sellers died at 12:28 this morning. A spokesman at the Middlesex Hospital in London, which he entered on Tuesday after a massive heart attack, said his condition had deteriorated very suddenly. Every effort had been made to keep his heart going, but it hadn't responded. Mr. Sellers had been plagued with heart trouble since 1964. 3 years ago, he had a pacemaker fitted at the Charing
Peter Sellers died in a London hospital on the 24th of July, 1980, aged just 54, leaving behind him a body of film and comedy work that burns as brightly now as it did when he first created it. As we've seen, the failure of his private life was the price he paid for his public success. But decades later, Sarah has no regrets about being the daughter of one of comedy's greatest performers.
Oh, this sounds a strange thing to say, but I think I'm a more interesting person because of it, and not because he was famous, but just because I've done things, I've been places, I've seen more things than a lot of people might do my age. So, and in some respects I don't know if I'd say I've had more freedom, but certainly as a small child, as I've described, doing what we wanted when we were with him. I would like him to be remembered, and that matters to me, his legacy. And I would like him to be remembered for his early career. I mean, obviously he did do good things later, but and people generally know about that, but they don't know so much about his early career, his huge radio career, his contribution to comedy. I'd like him, I think it's important that he's remembered, and I think it's important that he's remembered for his talents. And yes, he wasn't great, but I want him to be remembered for what he was good at.